Hello everyone, how are you all? If you can hear me, please let me know in comments. Can everyone hear me? Hello everyone, how are you all? If you can hear me, please let me know in comments. Can everyone hear me? Hello everyone, how are you all? If you can hear me, please let me know in comments. Okay, great. So let's start then. Thanks everyone who has joined us till now, and I hope more people will be joining us soon. So this is as you all know, Laravel Nagpur has been conducting meetups since 2019, February of 2019. So next month, that is February 2022, it will be our third anniversary, which I believe is a great milestone for us. And for that, I thanks to all the community members who have participated over the course of years in various meetups. And this month, we have Faizan Aalam as a speaker, and he'll be speaking on Laravel's HTTP client. Faizan is a software developer, he's a Laravel developer, and has been working in this industry for more than 3 years now. He works with Renium Systems. And without any further ado, I would hand it over to Faizan. Faizan, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, hi guys. Okay, so let's start it without wasting our time to the Laravel's HTTP client. Okay. Let me share my screen. We are looking into the Laravel HTTP client from now. The first thing first, about a small introduction about what is HTTP client and what we are using the HTTP client and why we are using the HTTP client. So basically, okay, so first thing first, why we need the HTTP client. So basically we need the HTTP client to consume the API or other data or other application data. The first thing, it's to create a wrapper package around your APIs. You can also need the HTTP client to create a wrapper package around your APIs, or maybe your application or your website that you want to be consumed by others. Another question is, what is the HTTP client? So basically, HTTP client is a package. It's a normal package. It's a simple package for a particular language. In PHP, it's a package which is used to send the request to the other server, or the application, and to get the response that we can consume in our application or the project. Again, another one is, okay, so in PHP we have various packages are there in the PHP which can be used as the HTTP client, and the Gazelle is one of them. So Gazelle is a HTTP client that make it easy to send the HTTP request. It's have a very simple interface for building the query string, to sending the post request, or maybe streaming the large uploads and downloads, etc. And we can also use the HTTP cookies, and we can also handle the JSON data with the Gazelle HTTP client. Another one, the last one is what we are looking today is the Laravel's HTTP client. So basically, Laravel HTTP client is a minimal API around the Gazelle HTTP client, which can allow you to quickly make outgoing HTTP requests to communicate with other web application, as we discussed. Laravel is a wrapper around the Gazelle. It's focused on its most common use cases and just have a wonderful developer experience with their wonderful developer experience. Now, this is the basic introduction about the HTTP client. Now let's look at the documentation, the Laravel documentation itself, what we are getting and what Laravel is also providing us to fetch, to send the request, on to consume, to get the response from the other servers. So we'll look into the Laravel response, Laravel package. Here is the HTTP client, Laravel HTTP client. Basically, we have it's using the Gazelle HTTP, and it also provides some of the other functionality and features, which also include the request data header, sending the header, authenticating it, timing out retries, and error handling, etc., around the Gazelle package. So let's jump to the coding part, where we are going to create and where we are going to make a request. We are going to make a request to the other servers. So first of all, we need to create a simple Laravel project where we can send the request to the other server. We can use as a sandbox project also. So I already have created a project for this meetup, which is a Laravel meetup. It's a test project. I will open it in my. Let's create another one. As a Laravel meetup. Until it will create the project, let's look into some of the fake APIs that we can consume in our application. The one we are going to use in our application in this project for this meetup is it's a GoRest API, gorest.co.in. It's a server. It's a server that it's a REST API server. We can use it's have a online REST API for testing and prototyping. It is available 24/7, and we can also use it's have a fake data and with the real responses. So let's look into it. We have a users get request, post comments, and etc. Other requests also, which can be used in our project. So here it's our project. Here is it our project. It's created the Laravel project we have created just. So I will link it with the wallet so that I can use it directly with the domain name. Okay, we have created a project Laravel. Okay, there it is. Okay, now we are going to open it in our studio, Visual Studio Code. Okay, so first of all, the first thing we are going to create a test route so that we can see the responses that we are getting from the other service, probably from the GoRest API. So let's create a route in web.php. It's going to be a simple route. It's going to be a test route with the browser. There it is. Check that it's working or not. Like maybe I have to go to the test route. Look, it's working. Okay, it's working. Now let's make a simple request to the first one, to the first API endpoint, which is the user's endpoint. If I'll open it in another tab, we can see the pagination, pages, and etc. and data, all of them. But we need this to be paged in our Java, in our Laravel application, in our Laravel project. So I'll copy this from here. Okay, now I'm going to use HTTP and with the get method and the URL. Okay, I will store the return data here. Now let's DD the response so that we can look what we are getting. If it's response. Okay. Now let's refresh our page, the test page. Oh, here it is. You can see the status codes at 200 and okay. We are fetching the data from the Go REST API client, Go REST API server in our application using the Laravel API client. Now let's go to the documentation. The first request, making request. So basically we have different REST API methods, REST methods, two methods in Laravel HTTP client. One is get, post, put, patch, and delete also. We use the get method. So in the response, we have different another difference method that can be used in the on the response on the response variable. The first one is body, JSON, collect, etc. etc. We can also check that if the response is okay, meanwhile means it is 200 or not, it's successful or not, it's failed, it's server, we are getting the server error or a client error. So now let's we are just getting the dump of the response here. Okay, now let's dump the JSON format for JSON format of our response. So we can use the JSON method on the directly on the response variable. Now just refresh the method, refresh our page. Now you can see it will see the result in the array format. It will convert it to the array directly. We have all the meta tags with the pagination and etc and the data with the array of our user object. So here it is. The first one is also fun. Here is the simple example. So how we can use the Laravel HTTP client to get the data from the another server or another application using REST API. You can also use another thing like GraphQL. You have to send the exact parameter that would fit into it, and the method is going to be the post one. So okay, the first one is the HTTP and get and the get method that we are using. So now another thing, let's move to the another thing. Another method which one is also provided by the HTTP client and which is post method. So look, let's go into the post one, request data. So we are going to send, here we can see that we also can store, also create a new user with the public user, public v1 API user. So we can directly go to our code and we are going to dump the response so that we can check what response we are getting, and we are going to change it to the post from the get. Okay, now let's just refresh it. Okay, here it is. We are getting an unauthorized response and the 401 code. So why we are getting this one? Because the post here, the post endpoint part is the restricted part. We need to authenticate it. So basically, Laravel have the authentication here. We can use the different authentication. The first one is the with basic authentication, with digest authentication. Here you can provide the username and the secret, and then you can send, and also a bearer token. So we can also use the with token. So let's look into the our Go REST API server, where what we have now. So basically we have the authentication of the API support only HTTP bearer token and query parameter off. So let's quickly create login. Login with this one, log into the our Go REST API and create a simple token, a bearer token that we can use to send the authenticated request. So let's copy this one. It's a bearer token, primary token, and it's a bearer token, expire, remaining, etc. It's dependent on the Go REST one. It's not going to be the same for each and every server, but it's probably the same. It's probably be suitable for our desktop or our Meetup. So let's add another thing. We are going to send a post request with the token, and I'm going to add a token. So basically, with token have two parameters. One is the required one, and the second one is the optional. It's automatically a bearer token, but you can provide another one like basic, etc. So first one is going to be our with token with the bearer token. Okay, now we are using the with token method here. Now let's refresh our page and see what we are getting. Now let's refresh our page. Okay, now the authentication error has gone. We are getting another error. It's the unresponsible entity, the 422. It's a validation error. Now we have to provide. Just let's look what we are getting in the validation error. We are going to dump the JSON here. So we can say this. We are getting field email can't be blank, can be blank, and status and gender. So let's provide another thing, which is we can also do with the HTTP client, which is a request data. So it's a common when making a post request to provide the HTTP request data to the other server, which can be which can be handled by the server. So let's provide the required parameter as the request data. So we can directly add the array of our request data here. The first one is going to be the name, paste name, then email, which is also a required thing. Then we are going for the gender, is also required. Then we are going for the status, which is active. Okay, now let's check what we are getting. We are going to refresh it. Okay, now we are getting the data that we have just created. It's a request data that we can send through the go request from the to the method to the with the post method. Okay, now here another thing that we can also do with it is the error handling. Okay, now we also know that if it doesn't provide the authentication token, we are getting the authenticated, not unauthenticated error. If we are not providing the test data, then we are getting the validation error. We can also check if the request is successful or not. Like if I'll double refresh it, I refresh it, then we are getting the email has already been taken error because we already used this email. So how we are going to handle it? For this one, we have in error handling. In error handling, we have some methods here. You also like this one, we are always getting the 200 response. It's not throwing any exception because it's discussed on like Guzzle's default behavior. Laravel's HTTP client wrapper does not throw exception on client or server errors. Like in 400 or 500 error, it does not default. Its default behavior does not throw the exception from the on client or the server errors. So we have some methods: successful, failed, client error, or server error, to determine that if we are getting the error or not, so that we can throw or we can directly handle it directly. So we are going to handle our server error here. First, we are going to add if condition, if response is not successful, just add it here, and response status is 401, which is unauthenticated. Let's just delete some character from here. It's F and 6, and if it will come, then we are going to throw our exception new unauthentication, Laravel's unauthenticated exception. Laravel unauthorized exception. So we are going to throw Laravel's unauthorized exception. Let's just refresh it, and we are getting the unauthorized exception. We can also abort here so that Laravel can handle it by default. So we can going to use the abort function with 401. So when we are going to refresh it, it will going to the Laravel's default 401 unauthorized one. Okay, now we have handled it, but in HTTP client we have handled it. So now, but Laravel's HTTP client also have another method, which is throw method. So we already know that its default behavior to not to not to throw the exception on the client or server error. But if we used it, then it's going to handle, it will going to throw the exception so that we can handle it. It is going to throw the exception. Let's just refresh it. Now you can see the message, the exception with the message that authentication has been failed. So if I provide the right one, then we will get the 4221 failed email message. A message has already been taken. The email field has already been taken. That's it. This is the very basics thing that we can do with the Laravel HTTP client, like throwing the exception, handling the exception, sending the request, and another things. But Laravel also comes with other features. And from here, just have different another feature. So one is the concurrent requests. So this is another feature. It's also it's a very simple. You may wish to make multiple HTTP requests, then concurrent request is here. So you can send several requests directly from one method. That can be, instead of requesting instead of issuing or sending the request sequentially. This can lead to substantial performance improvement when interacting with the slow HTTP APIs. So we have a pull method directly in HTTP packet. We have a pull method in which we can call a function, a closure function, which can return a pool of an array of the pull request. So let's go to our go to our Go REST API. Let's see what we have. So basically we have a users endpoint also, post endpoints also, and comments endpoints. So I'm going to copy a comment one, comments. Let's make I'll comment it for one. I'm going to create responses here with the HTTP. Now here we can provide the array. So direct arrow function, which will return the array of our pull request. I'm going to provide the pull. Sorry, this is I'm going to use the client's pool. Okay. Now let's add some responses, some endpoints here. The first one is going to be pull get. This one, HTTP users, the GET request from the in which it's returning the users array of user, and another one is going to be comments post. Sorry. Okay. Now just we're going to dump the data here, the responses data, what we are getting. Refresh it. So we are getting the two array here, two responses array. The first one, the first response for the first one, okay, and status is going to be 200. Another one is the okay and 200. We can also use the for each loop here to differentiate the for each loop here to directly like loop through the responses array. But for this one, I'm going to use the directly 0 here as the response. Now we can use any other normal function that we already have in Laravel HTTP client. The first one is the JSON. So it will return the JSON. Now we are getting the first one as the users. Okay, we can also have the second one, first one from the array. It will return the posts. So here it is. Okay, now this one is the concurrent request. We have done with the concurrent request. Another feature that Laravel HTTP client provide it's the retries. So it's many times we want HTTP client to automatically retry the request if we are getting the clients, if we are getting the server error or the client error. Meanwhile, means the 400 errors or maybe the 500 errors. So we have another method in the Laravel's HTTP client, which one is the retry, and it is a retry method. Okay, so for now, we cannot use this one now, Go REST API, because we are not getting 400 error, and we also cannot show you that it's getting the like Laravel 3 or get or at least retrying about the 3 times. So for this one, I have some other project with me. The one is the one I have. So this one, I have another path here in the API method, in the api.php file. Which one is the server error path? It's going to abort on 500, means it will always going to throw the 500 error, and I'm also debugging it, also adding a debug in our laravel.log file here. So we'll see the server error 3 times here, because we are going to make sure that we'll retry we'll retry the server error 3 times. So let's let's code for it. Response, I'm going to store the response here, and we are going with the HTTP and the retry method 3 times, and sleep time is going to be 3 milliseconds with no tokens. Directly we are going to use the gate. Is going to the what we have. It's a project Laravel inertia, yes. HTTP Laravel inertia js.test /API/ path name server error path. Okay, now, okay, that's it. There's DD here, the response. So refresh, we are going to refresh it here. I'm going to refresh about 3 times, done 500 here, because our path, our another Laravel projects aborting on 500. Let's see the Laravel.log. You can see the server error 3 times, because for Laravel, this one, the retry method retries on every server error 3 times, because we have provided the 3 times and the 100 sleep time. Okay, this is for now. This is the end. It's a very basic thing in the Laravel HTTP client. Laravel HTTP client. You can use it to create your own package. Maybe if you have like an API and you want it, and you want to make a Laravel package or a PHP package, you can use it the HTTP client, Laravel HTTP client. You can use it also in command line while creating the command, and a separate package maybe in a command also. So that's it from my guys. If you have any question, you can now ask me. Thank you.
Thanks, Faizan. Thanks for the talk. So guys, if you have any questions for Faizan, now is the time to ask. Anyone has any questions? Please type the question in comment box. We'll wait for a couple of minutes for people to type questions, if any. No questions from anyone? I'll just wait for a few more seconds. Generally, there's a delay between people typing their question in comment box and it appearing in the live stream. Okay, it seems we are all clear. Thanks everyone who joined us tonight. And we'll be back next month with another meetup and another talk. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye guys.